My name is Amy Kahn, Director of Student Financial Services at Hofstra University. Welcome and thank you for joining us for a presentation on payment options. In today's webinar, we will overview the Student Financial Services How-To webpage, which is your one-stop source for step-by-step instructions for online processing, loan options and how to apply, methods of payment, the locked-in tuition and fees plan, the monthly payment plan, and tuition refund insurance. At the end of the presentation, we will answer as many questions as time will allow. Please feel free to type in your questions throughout the presentation. A few days after the webinar, you will be emailed a copy, so don't worry about writing down information from the webinar slides now. Let's begin. The Student Financial Services How-To page houses a variety of step-by-step PDF instructions for completing online processing. The gold arrow points to tabs divided by subject category for billing, financial aid, registrar, and email processes. Our webinar today will highlight some of these processes. Please take a moment to glance at the titles here on the billing tab so you can check them out in the future. One important process the student should complete right away is the FERPA authorization. Once the student enrolls, they are protected by the Federal Education Right to Privacy Act, which means they need to give us permission to continue to discuss their student Hofstra records with parents or other people. Another important process the student should complete right away is granting authorized user access to the e-bill system, which allows parents or other people to receive electronic billing statements and make payments online if you choose to do so. Paper bills are only sent periodically, and therefore it is critical to have access to the most up-to-date information online. One of the most common ways families finance the cost of attendance are through education loans. All federal loans require the FAFSA. Additionally, all require a minimum enrollment of 6 credits each semester. Half of the loan will disperse to the fall semester, and half of the loan will disperse to the spring semester. So please make sure that when you apply for loans, you apply for the total amount needed for the full academic year. Federal loan programs for the student borrower are the Federal Perkins loan and the Federal Direct Stafford loans. The Federal Direct Parent Plus loan is for parent borrowers of dependent undergraduate students. Federal Perkins student loans are offered from a limited pool of funds allocated to colleges and universities on a yearly basis. They are awarded to students with the highest financial need. It will appear on the financial aid award notification letter if the student is awarded it, and a master promissory note will be included to complete and return directly to the Student Financial Services Office at Hofstra. It carries a fixed interest rate of 5%, and repayment begins 9 months after graduation. There are no loan fees associated with this loan. Federal Stafford loans come in 2 versions, subsidized and unsubsidized. A student must demonstrate financial need as calculated by the FAFSA to be eligible for the subsidized portion of the loan. All students eligible to file the FAFSA are eligible for the unsubsidized loan regardless of demonstrating financial need. The subsidized loan does not accrue interest while the student is in school, whereas the unsubsidized loan does accrue interest while the student is in school. The annual borrowing limit is based on the year in college determined by the number of credits earned. The Stafford loan carries a 6.8% interest rate, and a 1.05% fee will be deducted from the disbursement sent to the university. Repayment begins 6 months after graduation. Our next slide displays a chart for dependent student annual Stafford loan limits. The first year in college, the maximum annual Stafford loan limit is $5,500, of which a maximum of up to $3,500 can be subsidized, again based on demonstrating financial need as calculated by the FAFSA. The far right column indicates an additional amount of unsubsidized Stafford loan the student will be eligible for if the parent applies and is denied for a Parent Plus loan, which we will discuss further in the presentation. This chart displays the independent annual Stafford limits. The limit is $9,500 for an independent student, of which the maximum subsidized portion can be $3,500. The total maximum borrowing limit for students throughout their undergraduate career as a dependent undergraduate is $31,000, of which no more than $23,000 can be in the subsidized portion. As an independent student, the limit is $57,500, again of which no more than $23,000 can be in the subsidized portion. The Federal Parent Plus loan for dependent undergraduate students may be available to help cover the cost of education. Eligible parent borrowers are either of two biological parents or a step-parent with whom the student lives. The annual limit is the full cost of attendance minus other aid received, including student loans. There is no aggregate limit. Repayment begins 60 days after the final disbursement. However, deferment options are available. The interest rate is fixed at 7.9%. There is a 4.20% loan fee deducted from disbursement, so please be sure to build that into the amount that you request. Unlike student loans we've reviewed, this loan requires a credit check. If a parent is experiencing credit issues, an endorser, which is similar to a cosigner, may be used for the Plus loan. If you are using an endorser, I highly recommend that you call the 1-800 number for step-by-step assistance, since it is a little complicated and can lead to errors. Stafford and Plus Master Promissory Notes are legal documents signed once by the borrower, which eliminates the need to sign a new promissory note each year. The Financial Aid Office will send annual notification of eligibility with the option of accepting, canceling, or reducing the amount when the FAFSA is filed every year. A separate Master Promissory Note is required for Stafford and for Plus loans. The promissory note contains the terms and conditions of the loan and the borrower's agreement to repay the loan. The borrower will need their Social Security number, federal PIN number, complete addresses and phone numbers for two references not living at the same address, and a driver's license number if applicable. Steps for first-time student borrowers of the Stafford loans include applying for the student federal PIN, file the FAFSA, accept the loan offer, and complete two additional processes at studentloans.gov, which are the entrance counseling and master promissory note. Steps for first-time parent borrowers of the Parent Plus loan include applying for the federal PIN, file the FAFSA along with the student. Since the FAFSA only requires one parent electronic signature PIN, if the parent borrowing the Plus loan is not the parent the student filed the FAFSA with, the parent borrower must apply for his or her own PIN and complete two additional processes at studentloans.gov, which are the application request. This submits the application for the credit check and the master promissory note. Again, it is highly recommended that you take advantage of the toll-free 1-800 numbers in completing these processes, so experts can walk you step by step and answer any questions you may have. It is very important that you complete all these steps no later than June 1st to allow time for processing, iron out any issues, and make sure approved loans show up as credit on the bills, which begin to go out mid to late June. Now we have concluded the portion of the webinar on the 3 federal loans. Let's discuss other loan options. Private alternative student loans are available to help meet the full cost of attendance. The annual limit is the full cost of attendance minus other aid received, including student and parent plus loans. Alternative loan interest rates are not set by the federal government. Some lenders may require payment of the interest while the student is in school. Since these student loans, which require established credit, a creditworthy cosigner is usually required. The creditworthy cosigner does not have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Does have to be, I'm sorry. The minimum age for the student is 18 years of age at application. For a list of private education lenders and to apply, visit finaid.org/loans/private student loans PHTML. Note that Hofstra does not recommend one lender over the other. We provide the link for you to review the options and make the decision which best suits your needs. And finally, another type of education loan which is not listed at this website is a home equity loan. If your parents have equity in the home, you may wish to consult your lender and perhaps get an even lower interest rate than a Parent Plus loan or private alternative loan. Moving on to methods of payment at Hofstra University. Online, we accept payment by personal check and pinless debit card. By mail, personal check, and please be sure to include the student name and Hofstra ID number. In person, you may make payment by check, money order, or cash. And please note that credit card payment is not accepted for tuition, fees, room, or dining plans. The locked-in tuition and fees plan is a secure and predictable way to finance your education. You will pay the same tuition and fees for all 4 of your undergraduate years at Hofstra University. $40,150 would be paid each academic year, which includes the undergraduate tuition charges and the university and technology fees. It does not include room and dining plans. This is based on a student schedule of 12 to 17 credits per semester. Over 17 credits, you would pay at the prevailing rate, which for the 2013-14 year is $1,200 per credit. Some exclusions do apply. For details and the contract, please visit our webpage above, hofstra.edu/locked-in tuition rate. If you are not participating in the monthly payment plan, the traditional method of payment is at the beginning of each semester. You would make 2 lump sum payments for the fall semester due the beginning of August every year, and for the spring semester due the beginning of January every year. But if you wish to spread out your out-of-pocket payments on a monthly basis, you may wish to participate in our monthly payment plan. There is a small enrollment fee, which is $60 for 2013-14 auto debit, but there is no interest charged on the outstanding balance. You may choose the annual plan or semester-based plan. The payment plan is exclusive to online payment by either auto debit, where you enter your payment information online once, and on the due date each month, Hofstra's electronic payment system automatically deducts the payment from your account, or NonAuto Debit, where you must return to the online system to make the payments every month. For the chart outlining the payment plan options and fees, see hofstra.edu/monthly payment plans. Returning to our How-To page, our Student Financial Services How-To page provides step-by-step instructions for the monthly payment plan as well. The gold arrow points to how to enroll in a payment plan, so everyone who wants to participate in the payment plan must first enroll. You will need to estimate your payment since participation in the monthly payment plan begins before the actual bills go out. If you ever need to change the amount of the payment plan, email the Bursar office directly at bursar@hofstra.edu. An additional set of instructions for those who choose the non-auto debit option is provided where the green arrow points, because you will need to return to the online payment system every month to make the payment. If you want to change your method of payment, the instructions are also provided where the purple arrow points. It is highly recommended that you enroll in the payment plan no later than June 1st to make sure you're all set for the payment plan to show as credit on your bill. And as always, please call our office if you need any assistance. The tuition refund plan helps minimize your potential investment loss if your student needs to withdraw from classes and leave school during the semester due to illness or accident. Costs covered by the tuition refund plan include tuition only. The plan will refund up to 75% of insured tuition charges for medical, physical withdrawal, or 60% of insured tuition charges for mental health withdrawal. The enrollment fee is only $127 per semester, and students must enroll prior to the beginning of classes each semester. There are 4 ways to enroll: conveniently on the web as the student registers, on the web as an electronic payment is being made, or in person in our Student Financial Services and Registrar Suite, room 206, Memorial Hall, or finally through AWG Dwyer Incorporated. For more information, see www.collegerefund.com or visit our webpage, hofstra.edu/tuition insurance. I know I just covered a lot of information in a short amount of time. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you need additional assistance. At this time, we are ready to take your questions. I would also like to remind you to please complete any of the processes covered in this presentation no later than June 1st. Even though you are using estimated numbers, it is important to get the processes in place so the credit will show up on the bills. You can make minor adjustments like increasing or decreasing a loan or adjustments to your payment plan later if necessary. Hofstra sends out pre-bill statements to new students mid-June. Then once the students come for summer orientation and register for classes, the final bill will be sent based on that actual registration. Okay, so do we have any questions? Okay, our first question is there a parking fee? No, we don't charge a parking fee at Hofstra. Okay. Our next question, I just want to confirm the monthly payment plan is an option. If we don't participate in the monthly payment plan, we will not be charged the enrollment fee. We will get a fall bill for the balance after my son's scholarship and student loan, which has to be paid in full for the fall semester the beginning of August, and the spring bill the beginning of January. Is this correct? Yes, that is correct. The monthly payment plan is simply an option for convenience and does have an enrollment fee. If you don't participate in the monthly payment plan, then the semester bills have to be paid in full every semester. There's no additional fee. Okay, do we have another question? Okay, our next question. Can more than one parent borrow a PLUS loan for the student in the same year? The answer is yes. As a matter of fact, more than one parent can borrow more than one PLUS loan in the same year. So let's say, for example, your student was commuting for the fall semester, driving back and forth to class from home, and then decided to live on campus for the spring semester. You could apply for an additional PLUS loan within the same year to cover the cost of housing and the dining plan for the spring semester. Okay, next question. I understand the monthly payment plan has to be paid online, but if we decide not to participate in the monthly payment plan and just pay the full amount due each semester, we can still pay online or send a paper check. Yes. So I know that does get a little bit confusing, but you can pay online by penless debit card or checking account for monthly payment plan or by semester. But if you want to pay by paper check, then I do highly recommend that you send the payment 3 weeks before the bills are due, since it takes that long to process so many paper checks. Okay. The question is, where is cost savings with the locked-in tuition when the amount paid exceeds the 2013-14 rate? Based on the projections, the locked-in rate is something that families ask for to be able to plan ahead and be able to pay the same rate every year. So the cost savings should kick in by about the end of the junior year, senior year. There is no guarantee with this, but if you pay at the prevailing rate, then you are subject to whatever the annual tuition increases are. Okay, so let's see, another question. I am the parent of a student and we did not file the FAFSA yet. I already have a federal PIN number from filing the FAFSA with my older daughter who goes to another college. Do I need a separate PIN for myself when I file the FAFSA with each child? The answer is no. So just think of your federal PIN number as similar to your Social Security number. It's your PIN for life. So even if you go back to school and file your FAFSA for yourself or your children, you use the same PIN number. Okay, another question, what can you tell us about Discover College Loans? I can tell you that Discover is one of the private education loans, and you should be able to see the information at the web page within the webinar. I just want to reiterate, Hofstra does have a policy. We do not recommend one lender over the other, so we really don't study and analyze these different loan programs. So, we refer you to the web page, and they all have their toll-free numbers, so if you have any questions, you can ask those loan programs directly. Okay, there's another question, a similar question about other types of alternative loans. And again, Hofstra has a policy that we refer you to, explore those and pick the loan program that is best for you. The next question is the enrollment fee for the payment plan once or every year. So if you pick the annual payment plan, you will pay once for that annual payment plan for that particular year. If you choose the semester-based plan, then you would pay by semester. So you would obviously be saving money because the enrollment fee, it's $60, let's say, for example, for the annual plan for this coming 2013-14 year. It's $50 if you choose the semester-based plan. So if you did the full semester and then re-enrolled for the spring on the semester basis, you would end up paying $100 for the year. But annually, you would need to pay the enrollment fee every year. And that fee has been consistent. This is, I believe, our 4th year in offering the monthly payment plan, and we have not increased those fees. Okay, let's go to our next question. I I think I heard you say a pre-estimated bill goes out in June, but the real bill gets sent once the student comes to orientation and registers for classes. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. But we do encourage you again, I can't stress this strongly enough, that you should apply for all of these processes no later than June 1st to make sure that all of the credit gets appropriately applied onto the bill. Can you be in both the locked-in and monthly payment plan? Yes, you absolutely can. If you actually, you can pay by the tuition, the locked-in tuition rate really just sets your rate of how you're paying. So you can still pay by whatever method of payment we accept, paper check, online, debit card, etc. It's only the monthly payment plan that is exclusive to online payment. The next question is, can you pay a portion of the bill by check or from 529 and then split the balance on the monthly payment plan? Absolutely. So whatever combination of payments works for you, whether it's a combination of loans, the payment plan, we will accept those payments. Okay, let's see. Okay, another question about direct payment from 529 plans. How do we do that? Hofstra does not build 529 savings account plans. If you have one of those, you would need to contact the company you invested with and let them know that your son or daughter is going to Hofstra and give them our address, and you would let them know basically semester by semester how much money to send to Hofstra. So it's up to you to decide how much to withdraw and send to Hofstra. Next question, where can one get tuition rates for the past 4 years so I can assess the usefulness of the locked-in rate? That's very easy. If you go to hofstra.edu, that's our main Hofstra webpage. You can go to hofstra.edu/bulletin and then click on the undergraduate bulletin for however many years you want to go back, and you can just see the tuition and fees there and do the calculation. Next question, can you sign up for the payment plan after June 1st? Yes, you can sign up for the payment plan after June 1st. If you go to that web page that is within the webinar, it will give you all of the different payment plan options and what their deadlines are. If you're going to do it, I highly recommend that you sign up for the first one, the annual plan, the 10 payment installment plan, because those payments are evenly divided. It gets a little confusing if you enroll in one of the later plans because the percentage that you have to pay by month is a little bit different. So yes, you can sign up after June 1st, but again, the actual deadline in the enrollment end date is for the fall semester June 14th. So the earlier the better, because the more time you have to go into the system and weigh your options, the better for you. So if you have questions, you're not waiting until the last moment to try to get all your questions answered and any assistance that you may need. Okay, with the monthly payment plan, when is the first payment due? So if you sign up for that 10-month installment plan, the first payment is due June 15th. So right now the enrollment is open for the 10-month installment plan. It closes June 14th, and the first payment is due June 15th. Okay, I just answered that. Okay, next question. Okay, I'm not sure if I can read that. With a payment plan, we must automatically have it deducted from our account. We can't send a check. Okay, with the monthly payment plan, it's exclusive to online payment. You can pay by checking account, though. So what you do when you go into the online system for the monthly payment plan, you have a choice of either paying by pinless debit card or from your checking account. And it's actually very simple. In fact, my son went to school here, and I preferred to use the checking account. It's very simple. I just looked at my checkbook, looked at the numbers at the bottom, and I typed them right into the system, and it works very well. But no, you cannot pay by paper check for the monthly payment plan. Next question, will the merit scholarships show up on the initial mid-June bill for the fall semester? Yes, they should show up on the bill. But when the student registers, sometimes this happens. When a student comes for orientation, maybe they're not registered for exactly 12 credits. They have to be registered for their final bill, a minimum of 12 credits for the credit to show up. So occasionally that will happen where they're considering one class over the other or something like that. Maybe they're trying to get a class at the same time with a friend. So that could happen with the final bill, but with the pre-estimated bills in June, all the financial aid should show up on that bill. Okay, the question is, how do we subsidize the portion of my child's direct unsubsidized loan? Okay, that's not something that you have a choice over. The federal government in the FAFSA calculation has the specific guidelines for determining if your student is eligible for a subsidized portion of the loan or an unsubsidized portion of the loan based on the cost of attendance going to a particular school. Okay, next question. Will I be able to see my son's grades if he puts me on the FERPA? No. The FERPA simply gives Hofstra staff permission to continue to talk with parents or other people. The only access you'll be able to have online is if the student gives you authorization to e-bill, and that just allows you to receive electronic statements, be able to look up the account online and make payments. That is if you want to make payments online, but no, that's the only online access. FERPA, again, is just kind of a communication thing that gives us permission to talk about. Next question, is the monthly payment plan 12 months a year or just the academic year? It's 10 months. So it begins in June, the first payment begins in June. Okay. Okay, how do we estimate housing? There are different housing options. When you go onto the payment plan page, there will be an estimated, a table of the different charges by semester. So you can look at the different rooms and the different meal plan combinations. You might want to just say between $14,000 and $15,000 for the year in rounded numbers. And again, once your student registers for classes, you can always tweak the payment plan based on their final selection. Okay. Next question, can I borrow a Parent Plus loan for the whole 4 years of college, or does it have to be 1 year at a time? No, you have to apply for a Parent Plus loan, all of the loans, in fact, the alternative student loans, every year. Okay, next question. We're not sure which meal plan to pick for our daughter. If we pick a lower one and she runs out, do we have to buy a whole new one, or can we just increase the one that she has? If you pick a lower one and she runs out, then you can always add to it. You don't have to buy a whole new plan. If this happens, go back to our Student Financial Services how-to page, and that's one of the step-by-step PDF instructions that we have to walk you right through the process to adding to the dining plan. Okay. Next question, how are scholarships applied to tuition bills? They are automatically applied, so if it's one of our institutional scholarships that requires the students to be registered for 12 credits, it will automatically show up. If it's an outside scholarship, we will give the student credit in advance of the organization sending us the actual dollars, but what you would need to do is send us some kind of notification and award letter from that particular agency saying that they received an outside scholarship, and we would go ahead and give credit for that. So that's a good thing Hofstra does for our students. There's a question here about study abroad pertaining to the locked-in tuition rate. So let me just pull out the terms and conditions of the contract. We do allow the study abroad. I can't give the actual details at this moment. But it's even for students who are doing student teaching, it is based on the lower amount. Okay, so why don't you give us a call, 516-463-8000, and I'll pull out more details about that. You can ask for Amy, or send me an email at studentfinancialservices@hofstra.edu. I will go to the next slide so you can see that. Okay. Okay. The next question, if I sign up for the non-auto debit plan and forget to go back in and make a payment, will I get kicked out of the plan or get a late fee, or both? You will not get kicked out of the plan, but you will get a late fee. So it's important to know there is a $100 per occurrence late fee that's automatically built into the monthly payment plan system. So that's why we highly recommend that you sign up for auto debit so that way you won't forget. Okay, question. Can I pay interest monthly? I'm not sure what that's referring to, which interest. I would imagine on interest on a loan, you would usually pay monthly. Okay, so next question. Will financial aid office help us estimate the balance prior to June 1st? Absolutely. Give us a call. Send us an email. It would probably be better to call our 516-463-8000 number, and we can walk you through that. Or if you'd like to come in person, that's fine. We do have office hours that you can walk in if you want to see our schedule of office hours. If it's convenient for you to come in person, you can see our office hours calendar at hofstra.edu/SFS calendar. Just please be sure if you come in person at least 1 hour before closing. That way we have adequate time to help you through everything. Okay, next question. Are commuters required to have a meal plan? No, commuters are not required to have a dining plan, but students living on campus are required to have a meal plan. If a commuter is going to buy food in the cafeteria, though, I do recommend that you buy at least the smallest meal plan, because when you go into the cafeteria and use your meal card, there's no tax charged. But if you pay by cash or credit card, you're going to be charged tax on that. Okay. Next question, is June 1st the deadline a must for any of the processes mentioned in this webinar? It's a recommended deadline only because there are thousands and thousands of students doing processes at the same time. It does take a while for all these processes to work themselves out, especially if there are any issues that come up. For example, students are sometimes not quite familiar with their own Social Security number. Parents may be helping students fill out their information and may be confusing one student with the sibling and enter the wrong information. One thing that trips people up with the Parent Plus loans is that if someone is applying with an endorser, sometimes the endorser completes the Plus application and the parent who's trying to borrow completes it's the opposite. So that's why we highly recommend June 1st. It's not to say that those processes may not work themselves out in time, but to ensure that you're on the right path and so that you don't get stressed about trying to get through all these processes, we do recommend June 1st. Okay, next question. Do you certify loans from New Jersey state loans? Yes. I believe we have the New Jersey class loan is very, very popular loan with our students, although, again, technically I cannot recommend it. I do know that it is a popular loan for students from New Jersey. Next question, yes, okay, monthly payment plan. So if it's a $60 fee for monthly payments and a $50 fee for semester payments, are there any free payment plans? The monthly payment plan has a fee. But if you don't want to pay an additional fee, then you would just do the semester plan. So that's basically paying the lump sum at the beginning of August every year for the fall semester and the beginning of January for the spring semester. Okay, so at this point, we need to conclude our webinar. We are out of time for your questions. If we were not able to answer your questions, we will send you an email with the answer. In about a week, you will receive an email with a copy of the presentation. I'd like to thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day.